Football is back. Time for NFL football. It's our way too early look at NFL Week 1. Who's going to win? Are we going to have the Chiefs, 49ers again? Week 1 should tell us a lot. So join us for our NFL way too early picks for Week 1. We're going to start off with the Thursday matchup. Obviously, the NFL opens as it always does on Thursday night at the home of the Super Bowl champions. That would be the Kansas City Chiefs. So we've got the Baltimore Ravens at the Chiefs in a rematch of that tough AFC Championship game, that ugly game played in rain, where the Ravens came up short 17-10, taking the Chiefs to the Super Bowl where they defended their title. We look for an interesting game here. We like the addition of Derrick Henry for the Ravens. We think that's going to be a big factor. We think the Ravens are going to play a little bit better here, and they're going to avenge their defeat in the AFC Championship game with a victory 24-21. It will be close. Just a little caveat, we picked the Ravens in the AFC Championship game too, so we might be a little Ravens biased. We do think that if they run the ball, which they didn't do in the AFC Championship game, they'll win this. And a new feature for this year is our betting analysis, learn from losing picks. We want to figure out, was it a bad luck pick, a bad beat, like covering the spread late, or just a bad pick? Learn from it, adjust. We go back and watch the game. We read the box score. We try to figure out what caused it. Was it turnovers? That's bad luck, like the Ravens game here in the AFC Championship game. They lost a turnover about 3-0. Didn't run the ball, but only 6 times, even though they led the NFL in rushing. We look back at this one. This was bad luck. We think if they were to play again, Ravens take it. The idea here is not to get us off the hook from a bad pick, but to learn from it and adjust. Cowboys at the Browns, featuring Dak Prescott going up against Deshaun Watson. Dak with that unsuccessful, disappointing end of the season against the Packers. Was it really Dak's failings, or was it just Jordan Love playing an unbelievable game? We think the Packers really had a good defensive scheme for the Cowboys. We're not going to fault them for that, but it was disappointing. We like the Browns here at home, 21-17. We're not totally sold on their offense yet, but that defense, if you look at the stats on that at home, they gave up around 13 points a game as opposed to 31 on the road. Cowboys were 8-0 at home last year, not as successful on the road. We like the under here because both Cleveland and Dallas have two of the best pass defenses in the entire league. That's something we want to look at, especially in a pass-oriented NFL like we have now. So look for the under. We think it was 44.5 to 45 if you can get it. Let's do another pick analysis from last year. We had the Cowboys beating the Packers and covering that 7-point spread. Wrong. The Packers just dominated on both sides of the ball. And we look at this one, that was a bad pick. We underestimated Jordan Love, and we thought Dak would perform better. The Packers face the Eagles in Sao Paulo, Brazil in this year's first international game. We love both offenses here. The questions for us are going to be the defensive performances. The Eagles really had a weakness last year, pass defense, which we feel like they've addressed by bringing Gardner Johnson back at safety, then drafting 2 first-round talents at quarterback. We think that also adding Saquon Barkley gives them a slight edge. Again, these teams are so evenly matched. Had to pick one. We're going to take the Eagles here in a close one, 24-21 over the Packers. And before we continue, if you would, just join our channel. And if you like this video or find it useful, like it and then subscribe. We provide weekly NFL picks, highlights, and sports travel. Thank you. And next we have the Commanders at the Bucs. We're really high on the Commanders this year to improve. We think they're probably a year away from being true challengers. We love the Bucs at home here. You got Tampa and the September heat. We live in South Florida. Look out, that's a big advantage. We like what the Bucs did last year, coming from a slow start to winning the division. Do props to Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield for his comeback here. We like the Bucs here 28-21. We want to put a note there. Look out for the Commanders as the season goes on. We think if Jaden Daniels can stay healthy, they're going to be in almost every single game and really surprise some people. And staying with the NFC South, we've got the Panthers at New Orleans. Bryce Young starts his second season trying to make up for a rough rookie year. And then Derek Carr really didn't take over the offense. Showed flashes, did really well in the second half of the season, but not enough to take over the NFC South. We like the Saints, however, in this game, 27-17. We've seen quite a few games at the Superdome. Tough place to play. Bryce Young, again, tough place to start his second season, going up against that tough pass defense also. Patriots at the Bengals, which hopefully should be the return of Joey Burrow. We'll see if he can get back to his previous season's form. Could be an AFC favorite, but don't overlook the Patriots. We've looked at their defense. They were number 1 against the rush last year. Really good pass defense. Plus, they're getting Christian Gonzalez back, star cornerback. Could give the Bengals a bit of a tough run. We do like the Bengals here, though. We think the score will be a little bit lower, less of a blowout than people expect. 24-20 Bengals. And looking at our website, we got some statistics for the Patriots to give you some kind of interesting information. Led the league in average yards per rush, which we think is a better stat than rushing yards. And then if you look at their pass defense, they were top 10. How do they rank? 7th? And yards per attempt, which we think is a better metric for pass defense. So they could give Joe Burrow and the Bengals a bit of a challenge. Cardinals at the Bills. We think the Cardinals have gotten a little bit better this season. I think the Bills have gotten a little bit worse, losing Stephon Diggs and some key players on defense. But we don't want to write off Josh Allen quite yet. We think he's a unique talent. We think Buffalo, especially at home, takes care of the Cardinals 28-21. We are concerned going forward what the Bills' prospects are for the playoffs. Broncos, Seahawks, we got another rookie quarterback making his first start on the road, assuming Bo Nix is the guy. Tough place to play. Huge 12th man advantage in Seattle. We think the Seahawks underachieved a bit last year. We think Geno Smith and the crew will bounce back here, taking care of the Broncos 28-17. Look for them to be a playoff contender this year if Geno Smith, in fact, has a bounce back year. Jags and the Fins. This is a potential upset spot for the Jags, who really underachieved last year due to Lawrence's injuries. The Dolphins could actually be looking ahead for the Week 2 matchup with the Bills. We still think Miami's too good on offense. It's going to be a high-scoring game. We think the Jags can hang in there with the Fins. We like the Fins ultimately 31-28. Two teams with new quarterbacks meet when the Steelers face the Falcons. Who's going to perform better, Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins? I think Cousins is not motivated with his replacement already drafted. We think the Falcons come out ahead here 21-14. We think a lot of the Steelers, we think they'll be good. Home field advantage gives the Falcons the edge. Caleb Williams makes his pro regular season debut against the Titans. Don't overlook Will Levis. He had a pretty good second half of the season. Shows some flashes there. The Titans are now a passing team with Calvin Ridley to go along with DeAndre Hopkins. We got to pick the Bears here with Caleb Williams and that new arsenal of receivers that he has. Next, what should be a defensive struggle between the Vikings and Giants. Who starts at quarterback for the Vikings? Who starts for the Giants? Will Daniel Jones make it back? And will J.J. McCarthy get the nod in week 1? We don't know. So a lot of our unknowns, but we do trust the defense on both sides. We just think the offense of the Vikings, regardless of who starts at quarterback, is a little bit better. We like the Vikings by 3. Raiders and the Chargers. We think both teams have improved significantly in the offseason. We like the Raiders adding Christian Wilkins to pair with Max Crosby. That D-line should be fierce. We think with Justin Herbert coming back for a full season and adding Coach Jim Harbaugh can't be overstated. We think this game's going to be very close. We would take 3.5-point line for the Raiders. We think the Chargers win it. Rams of the Lions, a rematch of one of the best wild card games of the season last year. 1-point victory by the Lions. Rams could have had it. There was a questionable call there. I think the Lions are significantly better this season, improving their pass defense. We like them by 7 in this one. Stroud faces Richardson as the Texans face the Colts in this AFC South matchup. Richardson got the better of Stroud in week 2 last year and had a great start to the season, but Stroud obviously offensive rookie of the year. We think the Colts pass defense ultimately makes the difference here as the Texans win narrowly, 21-17. Jets and the 49ers. We really like the Jets this season. Take a look at our NFL preview to see how much, but we think this is an awful week 1 draw for them, having to go all the way to San Francisco, Santa Clara, face the 49ers. We like the 49ers here in a low-scoring game, 21-17. We think this game we're later in the season, second half, the Jets likely win it. We take the 49ers here.
That's all for this time. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to sharing our future videos with you.